Thank you, friend. In this video, we're going to see how you can apply a sentiment analysis using Azure Data Factory and Azure Cognitive Service without any prior knowledge of maths, data science, or machine learning, or a programming language like Scala, Python, and Java. We use just a no-code or low-code solution. So let's start with the high-level design of it. So first of all, you have Azure Blob Storage. It has a file which is a customer feedbacks.csv, and it has a that file inside this container, which is a feedback in container. So you can have more than one file here, as well as you can have more than different types of UL. Like one file can be CSV, other file can be in different types like JSON file. So first of all, we have a source, and our source stored in a blob storage in a feedback in container. Then we have another Azure services, which is Azure Cognitive Service. And this service do a text analytics on your customer data. So here I have a feedbacks on a products, like which products is good or bad or like that, or customers view on our products. So we get idea to improve our products. So that is Azure Cognitive Service, and that you can create in a few button clicks away. That also no code, low code solution, and it's Azure Platform as a Service. So then we have Azure SQL Server. So you need to create Azure SQL Server and database to store the final outputs as a sync data source. And we have Azure Key Vaults to store secrets in our case. For example, access key for a blob storage and the connection sync for SQL database, as well as a store in a central place. So there are two main benefits to use the keywords. First one is for security, and second one is to store in a central place. So what happens if tomorrow you would like to change the password of your database, then you don't need to change individual system. You just go to update that password or secrets in a key vaults. So if without changing like systems, you can use that change. So last, we need Azure Data Factory service. So we have now Azure Data Factory as well. And inside our Azure Data Factory, we have a pipeline. So this pipeline read a data from blob storage from feedback test in container. So if it has 100 row, 100 feedbacks, then it will pass 100 rows to here in for each loop. And for each loop, call the Azure Cognitive Service for each record. It applies sentiments on a record and it's written back into here, Azure Data Factory. So that's loop will continue until it's finished or end of the file. And finally, we will do some transformation as well, and then we store a result into a Azure SQL database. So this is a very higher level design. Before that, let's see how you can see that your how your Azure Data Factory integrate with Azure Cognitive Service. I think I'll show you later on. Let's see a demo first. So now let's go to browser. So let's start with key vaults. So this is a key vaults, and key vaults hold the secrets, and I have used here secrets. So there are two main secrets, one which is Azure Blob Storage connection string and one for Azure SQL database connection string. You can easily create here. So once you have a key vaults ready, you need to have a secrets, and then after you need to give a access policies must compulsory. So you can see that this is my data factory and I have given permission here. Then and then your Azure Data Factory can have access of these secrets. Otherwise, it can see a keyword, but it cannot access our secrets. So that is a main important thing. So now let's close this keyword. So this is another service, which is a storage service, and it has three containers here, main containers, one for feedback, one for feedback testing, and feedback test staging. So here I have an input file, and this is my customer feedbacks. I have a sample data, which is around 8 rows, and that's for, like Azure Data Factory, Azure SQL database. And this is the products, and this a customer ID, and this is the feedbacks about that products for by customer. So that is my input, and let's go to here again. So once it's applies sentiments, it stores the results here. So let's delete this out because we are running pipeline here. So that is one thing. And so now it's empty. So once I run pipeline, you will see one file here. And then you have here final file as well, because we do some aggregation as well. So, but I am cleansing this as well. So there is no any file. As well as in database. Let's see next. So this is my storage account. At the moment I have file in here, but after is supply sentiment analysis is stored here, and after some data transformation is stored some aggregation information here as well as in a database. So now let's go to SQL. I think we need to open SQL DB. So let's go to open here. Azure.com, and you will select your SQL database here. So this is a SQL database, and this is the one. So while it will take some time, so while it's open, I think I can show you others. Oh, it's very quick. Okay, that's good. So with this here we have a new table. Once we run pipeline, it will create a new table here. So I think we already have a table here. So we will drop that table. Okay, drop table DBO feedbacks report. So we drop that table as well. So now this table has gone. So that is my SQL database. So once I run my pipeline, my output will store here as well. And now let's go to see other services. For example, Logic Apps. I have used Logic App to send an email. I would like to send an email which is a customized one. So that's why I have used Logic Apps, because you can do same thing in Azure Data Factory, but you cannot do a customized email. You can just send an email with matrix, but not like attach file or customize your email. So that's why I have used Logic Apps, and you can see that Logic Apps, I am calculating here customized email message. And here you can see that I have used a Gmail connector to send email. So you can use your Gmail, SendGrid, Outlook, SMTP, and many more to send an email. So you calculate your email message, and then here you just send your email message. That's it. So this is Azure Logic Apps, which is a no-code, low-code, and platform as a service as well. This is the Azure Cognitive Service, and I have used it for a sentiment analysis. So you first need to go to portal.azure.com, and you need to search as Azure Cognitive Service. And once you get that, you need to create your language service. So this is a language service which I already have created. And in this language service, you will see that you can do so many other things. You can, let's go to here. See, you can discover more things, you can deploy, you can develop, and you can see launch a studio as well. So if I click launch a studio, let's roll this down here. So here you will see that you can apply sentiment analysis on a big paragraphs or Q&A or like that. So you can see that here. So you can summarize information using this technique. You can document translation. You can you can even do Q&A or classify your takes, like understand the question and conversations, and summarize and classify takes and extract information. So those are all things you can do using the Azure Cognitive Service. And behind the scenes, use the natural language processing algorithm for that. So you don't need to worry about it at all, even you don't know, because it's a data science technique. So that is Azure Cognitive Service. And once you create Azure Cognitive Service, it will give you two things. It will give you here under this key and endpoints. This is a very important thing, because you need this key as well as you need these endpoints wherever you're going to call this Azure Cognitive Service. So this is the URL and this is the key. So you click here and then you copy this key. Okay. So that is Azure Cognitive Service for a language, and the same technique you can apply for summarize, not summarize, but understand your video data or audio file as well. You can apply sentiment analysis on your video data or audio data as well. But here we have used text data only. So you apply a sentiment analysis on a simple text or a big paragraph or a big document. So that is a sentiment analysis. And now let's see here for Azure Data Factory. So this is my Azure Data Factory. And here you can see that this is a managed tab. So this is my link service. So you can see that this is my link service, and behind the scene is generate a JSON code. So let's start with first one. So this is Azure Keyword Service. So this is my keywords which hold the all secrets. So once you have a test here, you can test it here and it will successfully created. See, green means successfully connected. So once you test your connection string, you then use into here. So now this is my connection link service which hold the secrets and connect to a Azure SQL database. So you can see that this is a secrets it's got from keyword. Okay. And same way is Azure Blob Storage as well. You via keywords, you can see the connection string of the blob storage. That's it, and you can click here to test it. So this is my three link services. Now let's go to pipeline here. So this is my pipeline. And you can see that here that I have a lookup activity to particularly look up a data from a particular file. So here you can see that settings. So it's looking, it's specifying feedback. So it's looking for feedback container, and then it's concatenating here. So it's looking for feedback test in container. So whatever you pass it concate with this in. And here it's looking the predefined file, but you can parameterize this as well. But at the moment, I have parameterized for spec code. So business outcomes, like which folder or container they should look. So this is my data set. And let's go here. So it lookup will give me a number of records. So if file has a 15 records, then it give a 50. If 100 records, then 100 to this for each loop. So for each loop, in our case, we have 8 records. So for each loop run for our case 8 times. And it 8 times give the each individual feedback, customer feedback to a sentiment analysis. And it will apply a sentiment analysis, and then it store the final results of the sentiment analysis to here. And this is the main important thing. So if I go to here, so you can see that this is the URL of my Azure Cognitive Service. So this is the endpoint I showed you earlier. And I think you need to concate these things on that URL. And you select methods, and here you need to pass all required information. So for example, documents, this is the predefined, as well as language is English, because it supports more than 52 language. So you can define as well. So here it is English. And these items is, like my customer ID in my file, feedback file, but you can have something else as well. And here you will see text, and text we are providing our feedback. So this is the information I have in my source file, and this item is a current. So if you want to access a current item in for each loop, you just need to say item and then this bracket, and then you can access its property as well. So this is the basic message I'm passing to a cognitive service, and then cognitive service run is apply the sentiment analysis on this feedback, and then it's return the so customer ID, feedbacks, and sentiments like positive, negative, or neutral. So that's a little bit scroll down. So here you can see that this is the key which we're using from our API and key area from cognitive service, which is here. Yeah, this one. So this is the key. You can use either one of them, and this is the URL. Okay, so let's go back here again. So that is the one. So these are the information you have to add as well. So this way you call your Azure Cognitive Service into here. Now let's go back here. So once it's apply sentiments, you store the result into variables, and once it's finished, this process whole file, after that it will write down a content into a blob storage. So here I have used a web activity to write down into blob storage. So you can see this is a URL of my blob storage, and This is the define information which we supposed to do. So these are the one. And this is the variable which hold the results of the sentiment analysis in here. This is the one. And then it's write down into our Azure blob storage, but in a staging container. So if you want to see in which container, so you can go to here. I think it may be here. Yeah. So you can see that it's writing into a staging containers of the blob storage. Hello. So that is writing into blob storage, and it's hold only 3 pieces of key like customer ID, sentiments, and feedback. But we don't have any information regarding a product name or anything else. But that's very important. So that's why I have used here mapping data flow to do some transformation. So here you can see that this is my original file from blob container. Feedback desk in container. And this is a sentiment analysis output, which has stored during the pipeline in here. And now I'm joining them both based on a customer ID. And then here I'm doing some aggregation. And I store that result into our data lake Gen 2 or blob storage. And here I'm storing the final information into Azure Scala database, but I'm storing few more information. So you can see that here I'm just storing not only customer ID, feedbacks, and sentiments, but I'm storing the customer ID, feedback, sentiments, and product, which I get from here. So you can see that this is the information, but sentiments only have this, and this, but they don't have products. So that's why I have to use a data transformation, as well as here I'm doing some aggregation. So here I'm seeing how many feedbacks are positive, how many feedbacks are negative, and how many feedbacks are neutral. So there are the two reasons to use a mapping data flow here. And now let's run our pipeline. So let's run this one. So I'm passing the feedbacks, and I'm passing the customer feedback, and I'm passing the container name. So let's click here. So while it's running, you will see here that where is the storage? This one. So this is the file, and now it will store here one file. That is a result of the Azure Cognitive Service. And I think it's running, so it takes some time. So you can see here that this run date I have used to get date. I would like to have I would like to concat this on a file name. That's why. And then here you can see this is the research, which is the feedback result negative, positive, or neutral. So based on a content, it apply it's so this is basically a data. So you can see that here is total number of 8 because I have 8 records in my source file. Here you can see that all data as well. And it called the sentiment analysis. So for loop which run for 8 times. It do a sentiments, and this is the sentiments, and for 8 is positive. And then finally it will write a data into Azure blob storage. In here, and actually if we check this one, then you will get idea parameters. So this is my blob storage staging container. This is a customer feedback file name, and these are the data ID and positive or negative. So that's the result of the sentiments. Okay, there is no much other information. Okay, so if I now go to here in a storage, in a staging, so if I refresh, you will see there is one file will be created, and that is a JSON file. And you can see here feedbacks with sentiments, but you cannot identify sentence because here you will just see customer ID and sentiments, positive or negative, because you don't have here other information. So let's close this out. And when I go to another container which is a feedback container, then you will see that one file is created there as well, and it's to other things. See, this file has just created, and you can see that this will store the how many are positive, how many feedbacks are negative, and how many are neutral. So here 4 feedbacks are positive and 4 feedbacks are negative. So that is here. And if I go now to a database, which is this, so this new table has created because here we have just grouped it. So if I select here, you will see 8 records here with products name also there, not only sentiments. Sorry, I forget to do this. So yeah, these are the records, and you can see that there are 8 records, and it has like customer ID, product name, feedback, and I can eliminate this because it's the same as this, as well as here you can see sentiments as well, positive, negative, neutral. So that you would like to know why is it correct. So this is negative. Why? Because here they said most of the feature are deprecated, and this is a positive because it said I really like it, and this is a negative because it said it is not easy to learn. So in this feedback. Okay, so let's close this now. So this way you can call a sentiment analysis in your customer feedbacks or customer data or like that. And if you like to see how they integrate, then here you can see that you have Azure Data Factory, and in your Azure Data Factory you have web. Let's enable this, and let's see from here. So okay, so this is the one. So you have Azure Data Factory. In your Azure Data Factory, you have pipeline, and you have Azure Cognitive Service for a language. And in your Azure Data Factory, you have web activity, and here you are passing the URL, endpoints, and key to of your Azure Cognitive Service. And you passing the feedback as well, which or text or paragraph or whatever. Sentiment analysis applies sentiment analysis, and then it's written back to Azure Data Factory. But here we are passing the endpoints, URL, a key, message body, and header. After completion of the sentiment analysis is written back to Azure Data Factory. So this way you can easily integrate your Azure Data Factory with Azure Cognitive Service. So I think that's what the end of this demo. Thank you for watching this, and let me know if you have any question regarding this area. Thank you.